What's up, my kings and queens? Welcome to Riding the Wave with your host, AYD.
And MJ.
And today, since I was, before we talk about today, let's cheers.
Salute.
Cheers to you. Cheers to all you out there. Hope you guys are having an amazing day. Today, I was, just going down memory lane, and, today's topic is going to be upbringing and how it affected my life.
Affected our lives.
Our lives. You're right, our lives, because it's me and you in this. I didn't even take a drink because we cheered.
Bad luck, ladies and gentlemen. Bad luck. He got. You know what's so funny? He got on me. He got on me last week.
How
many
of you guys caught me slipping? If you're watching, how many of you guys caught me slipping? But it's all right,
We all make
Won't
mistakes.
let it happen again. All right, so upbringing.
Yeah, let's talk about it, man. Let's start with you. Where'd you grow up at?
I grew up in LA. I lived in the Ramona Gardens projects for a small period of time. After that, moved out and lived in like the El Sereno, Alhambra area. So that's pretty much where I grew up. My upbringing, it wasn't that. It wasn't that bad. I think I learned a lot by putting myself in other people's shoes, because I grew up with family members in gangs and stuff like that. So I was always kept to do the right thing, but also learn the bad ways, I guess you can say.
Do you have a good relationship with your mom and your dad and your siblings?
Yeah, definitely. My parents still together. You know what I mean? So I have a great relationship with them. Visit them all the time. Talk to them. Family's important. Definitely is.
So you have both parents in your life?
Yes. I was blessed to have both parents in my life.
Yeah. Growing up, my dad passed away when I was 1 year old. He unfortunately passed away because of suicide. I didn't find that out until later on in my life when I was in my 20s. No, you know what? I would say it wasn't tough on me because I was so young when it happened.
Do you mind if I ask how?
What do you mean how?
How did he commit suicide?
He hung himself. Yeah. And it was it was crazy. And this is not. I don't. When I'm talking about this, I don't blame my mom for how she explained to us as we were kids. How do you tell 3 kids that your dad killed himself? So
That's tough.
yeah, it was tough.
I can't even imagine.
On her end, definitely not on ours, because I never knew the guy. My brother and sister did. I'm not really. It's something we don't really talk too much about, to be honest. It didn't really affect me.
Do you think? I don't mean to cut you off, but do you think about a month? Do you feel like you have like any like suppressed emotions or anything that you feel you haven't worked on or fixed? If anything.
No. Well, the crazy part is I didn't find out until what happened until I was a lot older. When my mom explained to us as we got older, that he took some medication and he went into the garage, and he never woke up. That he had a heart attack in his sleep. So nearly all my life, that's how I thought he passed. That's how he went, and it was crazy. But my cousin, rest his soul, he passed away recently, a couple years ago. He's the one that told me. We're at a party, and he's just started talking about my dad, and I remember him telling me like, "Hey man, I'm sorry about how your dad went out." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And he was like, "No one ever told you?" And I was like, "No, I don't know what you're talking about." And he's like, "Yeah, man, your dad committed suicide." And the moment I heard that, like, I don't know, my emotions just flared up in that moment. I was upset. I was angry. You know, I had all these emotions.
How old were you when he told you this?
I was like 20, 23, 24, something like that.
You were 24 years old when you found out that your dad committed suicide, but he did this at what age were you?
I was 1 year old.
You were 1. So 24 years later, you find out how your dad died and how he did it.
Yeah, it was
tough.
it was pretty crazy. But you know what? Like,
Wow.
I how can I say it? I was more just bothered by the fact I was more upset with him on how he could leave my mom like that. I did talk to my mom about it. I wasn't upset with her though. I really wasn't. Like most parents, we just try to protect our kids because we don't want our kids to be hurt. And she loved him. You know, she genuinely did love him. And I'm pretty sure she just wanted to remember him on the person he was when he was with us. You know, I remember being a kid, they would show us in the VHS videos of him, you know, playing with us and with all of us, with me and my sister, and my little and my older brother Chris, and you know, that's those are the memories that I have of him. You know,
Did your thoughts or feelings change about him once you found out that he committed suicide?
yes.
Okay, so now what do you think about like suicide? At first, you know, I mean, this is definitely a tough subject to talk about for a lot of people. You know, if you've ever thought about it, just know that you are loved. We love you. You know, there's help out there. You know, the hardest part is just talking about it and bringing it to somebody's attention. Please do it. You know what I mean? Because you have so much to offer this crazy world. You know what I mean? And you're a great thing, and we want you to be in it as long as possible. You know.
Yeah, you know what? Like, I can't really say it affected me. It affected more my mom than anybody else because she was left with 3 kids and she had to navigate, and no one was around. You know, he had brothers and sisters. Once he was gone, that was it. Nobody came around. So you know, that's what my strength, honestly, does come from my mom. You know, my mom.
Cheers to mom.
Yeah, cheers to mom,
Cheers to
man.
moms. All the moms.
You know,
out
all the
there.
moms that are just out there grinding and doing it for their kids. And this is why this topic is really important to me specifically, and I do want to recognize the strength that my mom installed or instilled in me. But she just kept on pushing. You know, she kept on pushing. She had no time to mourn. I mean, how do you mourn when you got 3 kids, you know, that are babies who don't understand what's going on, and the rent doesn't stop, bills don't go away, you know. So that's why I give all the credit to my mom and all the strength that she's inspired me to be. You know, so
that's good.
yeah,
Good.
so
You're a good man.
yeah, man. So how about you, man?
Good job.
Any so like what was your upbringing like as far as like what was like good memories that like your mom and dad has instilled in you? Aid?
Well, see, let me before I go back to what they instilled in me, let me go back. Like, all right, I know I said I grew up with you know, both my parents. You know what I mean? Um, actually, like isn't my father that I've known as my father for my whole life, for my whole life, um, isn't my biological dad. You know what I mean? So I know who my sisters and brothers are on that side of, like, you know, my biological father's side, but never met them, never introduced myself, never, you know, did any of that. So I wanted to say that because like my upbringing was great, but I think a lot of the things I learned was just learned behavior.
Now your biological dad, do you know who where he's at or who he is or
Well,
anything
he
like that?
passed away. He
Okay.
passed away a few years back.
Hey, man.
I know who he was.
Did he ever come around at any point?
No, he didn't. He never. I guess it was something that him and my mom had a thing at one time, and then that's all it was, just one time, and here I am. Right? It only takes one time.
Yeah, I mean that's what honestly
Right? Put
like
on the raincoat.
yeah yeah.
Put on the raincoat.
I mean honestly that's why the men and women we got we got to be safe when we go out there and we doing the nasty now because there are consequences when it comes to that. But going back on track, did you know that your stepdad wasn't your real dad, or did you always know, or
No, I didn't find out till a lot later, but
so similar to me, like
yeah, definitely.
okay.
The crazy thing is, in elementary, my best friend was my sister.
Okay.
And we didn't even know that we were brothers and sisters.
Oh, wait a minute. Let's backtrack.
Yes.
Explain that to me.
So,
Explain that to us in the audience.
Yeah, so in 3rd grade, and I didn't find this out till years and years later till I was an adult, but yeah, in 3rd grade, my best friend was my sister. I don't know at the time, and then
was that through your dad, through your mom, or through your dad? As far as the sides, that was it
my biological dad's side.
Okay.
So we would hang out, and then all of a sudden she was just gone. Like, I didn't see her anymore. You know what I mean? I guess they sent us to a different school. And then not till probably I was in my adult, like 20, I would say 17, 18, getting close to being an adult. My dad now, had one too many, and he was just like, sit down, I need to tell you something. I was like, what's going on? I just want to let you know that I'm not your real dad, and blah, 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 He went on with the story. I paid no attention because in my eyes and my heart, that was my dad. And no matter what he says, like, that's my dad. He raised me.
And then how did that make you feel, like, about your sister? I mean, do you talk to your sister now? Or?
I know who she is. I've talked to her maybe about a year and a half ago, through text, but I don't think she has any idea
And
who I am.
And what's stopping you from going out and just saying, "Hey, man, like, we're family"?
Because I dealt with this my whole life. You know what I mean? I knew, and I grew up knowing. At one point, I did want to meet them. I did want to see them. I did want to be just part of them, mostly part of my sister, because I'm not gonna lie, I missed her, from being in 3rd grade together. But everybody out, like, I thought about it, and it's like, as much as I want to do that, it's not fair for them. It's just me, and I learned it, and I dealt with it, and I moved on. But, like, to drop this bombshell on a whole family that probably doesn't know anything about this, and now they have questions and they can't ask their father. But why? Because he passed away.
But don't you think it's a positive thing? I mean, hey, what our parents did, that's their business. But I mean, wouldn't you think you going out and reaching out to your sister? I mean, why is she gonna be mad at you? It's like I mean, and then I mean that's a pretty significant deal, man. Like I personally
exactly. That's a pretty big deal. You know what I mean? So it's either gonna be good or bad. Like,
so what's your fear?
What's my fear? I don't have a
like. What's your fear in or what's your not fear, but like your caution decision of like, or what's holding you back from going out and just
saying
like hey man, like, we're family.
Me letting them know, and then their whole family knowing that this has been hidden for this long, and now this is a bombshell dropped, and then it just devastates a family, like a family. I don't think it would devastate them. Again, I mean, we don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know. That's the thing.
And that's So that's what I want to ask you, the audience. Has there ever been a time that, in your upbringing, that you found out something about maybe your parents or a sibling or whatever, just like how we were discussing, um, some just crazy news? Have you guys experienced that? What have
Do you
you?
have any? Do you have any suggestions,
Yeah,
or what
like
are your thoughts about this
yeah.
situation? Because
Would you advise Aid to go out and talk to his sister that he hasn't seen since third grade? I say yes. I would definitely tell him, yeah, Aid, go out there. I mean, we have one life, and our life is precious. And if you're coming from a good place and your heart is pure, and you're going out there just to say, hey, sister, I'm your brother. This is what's going on. Dad had us. He abandoned me. Was he there for your sister? Do you know that? Do you know?
well, yeah. I
Okay.
mean,
So like I could imagine, like, did that bother you? Bother you in any way? Like,
I mean,
fuck, bro. Like,
I didn't know him until. I didn't know he existed till like 17.
oh,
You know what I
okay.
mean? Once I found out, then
Were you upset with your stepdad for telling you something like this?
no, I wasn't upset with my stepdad. You know, my brothers and sisters knew of my other brothers and sisters. You know what I mean? I mean, we lived in a small area, so they knew. I was upset with them for a while because it was just like, why wouldn't you ever tell me? Why wouldn't you ever tell me? You know
So
what I
it's just
mean?
like secrets, huh? Like fucking secrets.
Yeah, but I mean,
That-
you don't know what it's gonna do to the person. You know, I
But
was
it's an assumption though. It's an assumption. I honestly, like, when it comes to, I understand when it comes to kids, because kids were you just never know how that could affect a child. But once you hit some sort of adulthood, I think that's when it's no longer your place to decide what that other individual is going to feel based off. I mean, we're not mind readers.
right.
It could be embraced, and then even if it's not embraced and it's discouraged, well, you know what? Fuck it. At least you made your peace with it. You came from a good place. You're pure hearted, and
Right,
it's
but who's to say I haven't made my peace with it now with the
yeah.
decision I made and not telling them? You know
You're
what I
right.
mean?
You're right.
Like, I'm at peace with it. I'm all right. Like, I'm okay knowing that. You know what? I won't drop this news on them and then ruin a family. Maybe it's gonna happen that way. Maybe they'll embrace me. I don't know. But maybe I'm just good at where my life is going right now. You know what I mean? And if it happens, then it's meant to happen. The universe will put me in that situation, and I'll have to answer that. I'll have to see what I decide to do at that moment.
Well, I could my only take on this would be like, bro, they would be blessed to your sister would be blessed to have you.
I
That's all
mean,
I gotta say.
okay,
That's it.
okay,
That's it.
right. No, I get you. I get what you're saying. And I appreciate it. But it's like saying, okay, I don't mean to, I'm going to go back to you talking about, your dad committing suicide. You know, my dad did it, but I have nephews and their father committed suicide. You know what I mean? And I could see what it did to their upbringing and everything, so I couldn't say, like, oh, they're young. It's not going to have an effect on them. They're going to forget about everything. Everything's going to be fine. Like, that's not true. You know what I mean? Like, I got and that's what I'm here for. I want to put myself in other people's shoes, and I know I will never experience what you or my nephews have experienced, like emotionally. You know what I mean? But I want to try to get an idea. I want to try to feel something. You know what I
Right.
mean? And I got to feel it through the words and how you express yourself.
All right. Well, you know what? To each their own. Everybody has their own journey and their own path. So whatever journey or decisions that you decide to do,
Mhm.
hey man, power to you, and I thank you for sharing these for sharing that. Personally, I didn't even know about this until literally right now.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. We're opening up the book.
All right, so
We're riding this wave.
what strengths have you gotten from your mom and your dad? What do you feel like as an adult now? Where do you feel like you picked up, like, or like characteristics, the good and the bad?
Okay. Um, I mean, the good. My parents always worked. They were always grinding. They were always like nonstop. You got to make sure that you take care of the family. You pay the bills. You know,
Providers.
provide. Yeah, they're providers. Exactly, the providers. But I mean, the bad part, they were always gone. They were always working. Like I can't be upset with it. They were trying to give us the best that they can, and they were just constantly working. That's how, and I believe that's how I am today. But for a while, it's just I feel like that was just learned behavior. I saw it, and I just copied it. I was like copy and paste.
And to the audience, have you experienced that? Where, because I know definitely I have. When I was growing up, my parents had to work, and it was literally just me and my siblings at home. When we went on spring break or any sort of vacation time at school, um, they had to work, and we stood home, and
Yeah.
we got into some trouble. You know,
I mean, we all did.
And-
If you guys are out there driving or say, "Oh no, I didn't," well then you didn't get caught, but you you got into some trouble.
yeah, and that's why when I became a parent, I was blessed to get a schedule where I was able to be off work 3 days and be off 4 days, so I could be there, for my son. Um, but so those were the strengths and the weaknesses that you've. Okay, but I'm sorry. Like as far as though, like, uh the weaknesses part, you just felt like you were just kind of. Did you feel abandoned, alone, or how did you feel about that?
No, I didn't feel abandoned. I mean, my parents were strict, so it was just constantly doing homework and staying inside. I had to ask to go out, or if I snuck out, make sure I was back before they got home.
Got back.
For real. I think one thing that I don't like that I developed, that I could say it's from my parents is my stuttering or my mumbling. Because sometimes I mumble and I stutter.
Oh, and how did you get that from your parents?
I'll tell you right now. No, but it's like because my parents used to do this. If I ask, obviously you kind of feel your parents out and see who you want to ask if you could go somewhere if they're in a good mood or not because you want to yes, right? So if I felt my dad was in a good mood, I would have to ask my dad, especially if my mom was around. I'd have to ask him real fast. Oh, Dad, can I go skateboarding? Dad, can I go skateboarding? But I would try to say it so low so that my mom doesn't hear me and automatically say, no, you can't go, you know? So, and I would do that with my mom to my dad, But obviously when I would do it to my mom, like, Mom, can I go skateboarding? Wait, what? I said, Mom, can I go skateboarding? What? Like, and she'll get louder and louder. And then my dad, like, what are you asking for? And it's like, oh, man, like, I wanted to go skateboarding. No. And now they're upset with me.
So you trying to play them both, huh? It didn't work. You
trying to play them both. It didn't work. So it's like, I guess me talking fast and trying to get it through so that the other parent doesn't hear made me develop a mumble and a stutter.
Okay, it makes sense. Stuttering Stanley over here. The cable guy over here. Oh no, he had a list. He had a list.
It's a good movie, but we all have our problems. It's all good. We're unique.
Yeah. The same way. My parents were, so my mom remarried, and I had a great childhood.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can't sit here and knock off my childhood. My dad, my stepdad, he was there for me, all the way up until my parents got divorced when I was 16, and that was a whole nother scenario that we'll get into in a bit. But I had a great childhood. My fondest memories would be, him just. He used to work at a meat market, and
you like meat.
And hello, and I remember just going, he would call me his boy, and he would introduce me to all his coworkers, and it used to be a very high end market, so a lot of celebrities would go in there, and when we pick him up and it's closing time, he would just introduce me to just everybody. And I just felt, and I was so shy. I was so shy, but like I would hide underneath his legs, and not shy anymore. But I just, those are the fondest memories, and I think that's why, to be honest, I'm the dad I am today. Like, to the honestly did have a good figure growing up.
Yeah.
You know, and
Gotcha.
I am very blessed for that. So what about your teenage years? Let's talk about
Oh man, we're going through all of it.
Yeah,
right?
let's talk about
We're going through everything.
let's talk about the crazy times, the unique times, the like, I can't believe I did that.
I mean, I wasn't even crazy like that.
Oh,
You know
shit,
what I mean?
I was.
Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, to be honest, like, honestly, I was a follower in high school. You know what I mean? And I was the one. I mean, I was like always the one that was just down for whatever, down to do it. Like, oh, let's go do that. I'm down. Let's start skateboarding. I'm down. Let's start bike riding. I'm down. Like, let's play football. I'm in it. You know what I mean? So I was more like that. I didn't really think. I've never really thought for myself. You know what I mean? I never really asked myself, what do you want to do? Like, what's your passion? Like, what are your goals? What are you setting yourself, you know, like, are you setting the bar up high or low? Like, I didn't have those questions. It's just kind of like, oh well, if you're down to do it, I'm down to do it.
Okay, and sorry to cut you off. And did you do any? Did you drink? Did you smoke? During in teenage when you were a
Oh yeah,
teenager?
I drank, I smoked, I ditched, the real basic things, but nothing like outrageously crazy. You know what I mean? That I'm sure there's stories out there that just trump mine.
Okay, so you're just, all you did was just you party, but nothing,
Yeah, nothing,
nothing,
nothing crazy.
not,
I was a good student.
okay, yeah.
I mean, is that good student with bad grades?
No, yeah, that's not.
I showed up to
not,
school, but my grades weren't,
Hey,
until second semester started, and that's when I got on the ball.
but at the end of the day, you did go to college, right?
I got my bachelor's in
In
human
what?
services.
Yeah, there you
You
go.
know,
That's all that matters. You stumbled in high school, got your shit together, went to college, graduated, and at least you have that, and you went to the military, so it's like you have that underneath your belt.
yeah.
Um,
How
childhood.
about yourself?
Oh man, I don't think
Is it
you.
a long story?
I don't think
do
you
we
guys
have time for it?
I don't think you guys are ready for this, but
Let's
yeah, I think
short, swimple, simple,
short and sweet,
simple,
short and sweet. Honestly, the teenage era was rough. And A said it best. I was a follower. I wanted to fit in. Um,
Yeah, me too.
and I, like a lot of teenagers, I wanted to grow up too fast. That's probably one of my biggest regrets is just not enjoying being a kid. I never went to prom, never went to winter formal or anything like that. Now I see my nephews doing that, and I'm not gonna lie, look, you get a little jealous. Like, damn, I wish I could do that, but I hope I install that into my son, and then I get to witness him do all of that. In a sense.
Yeah.
That's if he wants to. I don't know, but I grew up too fast to the point where I started drinking at a young age.
How old were you?
I was like 13.
13.
Yeah, Palmdale,
Palmdale.
come back to me. But yeah, Palmdale was not. I don't know. It doesn't matter where I was, I think, at the time, but yeah, Palmdale was just. It was a little rough. It was very racial. Uh, in my household, there's my stepdad was old school veteranos. There was a lot of gangsters in the house. We were exposed to a lot of things. I would say I would never expose my son to as a kid, as a teenager. I started doing drugs at a young age. I started doing crystal meth. I did that at 13.
At 13?
Yeah.
You're doing crystal meth at
Yeah,
13.
13, drinking at 13, smoking weed, ditching, just a fool, a fucking fool. Um, I what and
So I'm sorry. In all this, where were your mom and your
See,
stepdad?
like, and then that's sort of the point where it was a little murky. You know, my parents they were going through their own shit. They were going through their own shit. I kind of felt like at that time, me and my brother and my siblings, we were on our own. You know, we didn't really have a lot of guidance. Stepdad was an addict. My mom was an alcoholic. Not to knock her. It's just, we all struggled. We all struggled with our own addiction. I went to jail at 15, got locked up, and I went into this academy, this military academy school, which I really liked, and I flourished there. My whole goal was to join the military. That was the whole goal.
Okay.
And I did very well. I was there for 6 months. It was San Luis Obispo. It's called Gritty Youth Academy, and I loved it. I got out, and I was gonna actually go back. I was gonna go back, and crazy ass story. This I remember like it was yesterday. I used to have a boy. His name was Smokey. He was from the neighborhood, and I wanted to go get some muscle shirts because I was gonna go back to the academy. They had like a computer program that I was gonna go back to,
Uh-huh.
and apparently that day there was a robbery. So the cops were just hot. And this is Palmdale. So, and this at the time, this was like early 2000s. So it was just, there wasn't a lot of, it wasn't as popular as it is now. So went to the store. I got what I needed. I'm heading back home. I'm probably like 2 miles away from the house. And then next thing you know, cop just rolls up. Boop, boop, boop. Shines
Okay,
the
hold on one more time.
boop, boop, boop. Shines the light. He takes off. I knew that he told me the car was stolen, but I don't know, I was 16, 17. I didn't think it was a big deal. They chased us. He had dope and dope and he had a gun and it was crazy. So we ended up going to and this is probably like literally a mile away from my house. We ended up going towards like a cul-de-sac.
Yeah.
And he didn't even tell me anything. He just jumps out. And I like an idiot, I jumped out. And I was like Mission Impossible. I went through I don't know how many fences. My stomach was all ripped up. And I made it home. I told my mom what happened. My mom was a thug. She was just like, let's go. So because I was going to go to the academy the next day.
Yeah.
So she took me. And they ended up raiding my house. They ended up finding out who I was.
So this is all when you were like in junior, like damn. What do you?
I was sick. I was
like,
no, I was 16. I was probably.
Oh, you're 16.
I was like what, like in a junior? No, sophomore. And
All right. Wait, are we going through every grade?
no. I'm
Oh,
just
okay.
a specific story. And after that, that was it. Went to jail. Luckily, the guy took the fall for everything, and for a good portion of my life, man, when I was a teenager, because it was just drugs and alcohol. My parents got divorced, and
So for the kids that or you're that age group that you were going through stuff, I'm sure there's kids out there, if they're listening, what message would you give them right now?
oh man, it's hard. It's hard. It honestly, it's as much as I would love to give the best experience. It depends on who you have around you, your support system.
So you're a product of your environment.
Yeah, we are. We are a product of our environment, and people. That's why when I watch some of these people who want to inspire and all that, it's great, but sometimes you got to live it. You gotta live it in order
Agreed.
to share it.
You can't, you're not going to learn it in a book.
You're not.
I mean, you can obviously they're going to educate you, but hard knocks, right? I mean, you got to be street smart. It's just a different learning curve, I guess. Like
And you asked me that question, like what advice? I wouldn't know. I honestly I wouldn't know, because when you're 16, 17, it's like, first of all, no matter who tells you anything, you're not gonna listen because we're fucking, especially as young kids, we're ignorant.
Or yeah, or what about the advice like, man, communicate with somebody, talk to somebody, let them
Yeah,
know. You know what I mean? And
no, you're right. See, and that's what this platform's about. There was nothing like that. There was no,
no, you're right.
there was no fucking talking to anybody, bro.
Just
In
deal
high
with
school,
it. And
back
deal
in
with
early
it.
2000, there
Yeah.
was no talking to anybody. Like
And
I,
show your feelings.
like I wish there was platforms like this where, like, damn, I could reach out to somebody and just hit them up
And be yourself.
and be myself, and they them just to guide me, not guide me, but just listen to me and somewhat mentor me, you know.
I agree.
But again, like all of these um situations that have occurred in both of our lives, you know, it made us a lot stronger. It's things that we still remember to this day. I mean, Aid, how old are you?
I don't
No.
pay attention. I think
Here we go. Here we go.
It's
Age
true.
is just a number.
age, it really is. It's all a mindset. It's a mindset on how you're gonna act. Like, you want to act old, you're gonna be old. It doesn't matter if you're 25, 26. You act old, you're gonna be old. You know what I mean? Like, this is definitely not acting my age. That's for sure. I mean, that's why I pay no attention to it.
Well, I mean, I'm 37, and this happened when I was 16, so it happened almost 20 years ago, and I remember it like it was yesterday, you know. But yeah, and then, you know, after all that, uh, but the first person that had my back, you know, was my mom. My mom was the one. Like, once I got busted, she was the one. She fought for me, and she's the one that got me out because they didn't have any evidence on me. So she's the one that got me out, and but I learned a lot from that experience, you know, and like, just don't go into fucking stolen cars. Like, this karma's a motherfucker.
Yeah.
You know, you go out and you want to hang around with those type of people. Well, karma has no sympathy for you.
Yeah.
You know, so that would be my only advice or experience towards a younger people is like,
Whatever. Whatever. Go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah, whoever you associate yourself with, and if they're caught up doing some negative shit, you're gonna go down with them.
Right.
You know,
Go down with them or expect to get that type of energy and negativity right back. You know what I mean? Because you attract
yeah,
negativity,
you
you're gonna
try.
get negativity. That's what you're attracting. You know, stay away from it.
And so, what was like, as far as I know, you teenager and all that stuff. You say you like, you know, you like to skate. Overall, it seemed like you were a good kid.
Yeah, yeah. I was a good kid. You know, I was a good kid. I mean, there's definitely things I would change. I
What
would
would you
have applied
change?
myself more.
Yeah, what would you change?
I would have applied myself more. You know what I mean?
In what way?
In a way to make me a better person sooner. To embrace everything that life has to offer. You know, even school, and like to see what I'm capable of doing. I wish I would have did it a lot sooner instead of wait until now or a few years back. You know what I mean? But again, I feel like it was just learned behavior. I saw my parents working, being the providers. So what did I grow up doing? Becoming a provider. And that's what my main goal was, to go to school, graduate, get a good job, make money, have a family, buy a house, and then it was like that was it. You know?
Yeah, after all that situation happened, my parents got divorced, and when my dad left, my stepdad, that hurt me, that got me, because he was my idol. I I felt lost, and it's crazy because when they got divorced and then he split, he was, "Oh, you're the man of the house, son. You're the man of the house. Take care of your little brother." I was 16 at the time. I was not no man. I didn't know how to be a man. I was a kid, and that was the selfish part. I would say on his end was just taught me something like that.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I learned. Never, like, a man should never leave his family. Never. If you want to get divorced or whatever, that's fine. You do what you got to do, but you don't leave your kids. You are there for your kids. You don't abandon them or blame, because he would always blame my mom for all these negative things.
But I mean, you don't know the situations. What if somebody's keeping their son from them?
I mean, that's a different scenario. I mean, that's a different topic for a different discussion.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying overall, how it affected me. It really hurt me, and it took me down a downward spiral. That's when I started doing a lot of drugs. And I just didn't know how to. I didn't know how to handle the pain, bro. To be honest, I just didn't know how to handle it. Switched my gears was me and my brother got into a big fight one time, and
Who won?
it wasn't.
No, I'm just
I did.
Right.
But my older brother, we always had a rocky relationship. We're good now, like we're so much better now. But I just remember one time, he was on a come down. I literally slept, all day from my come down, and I went upstairs for something, and I don't know. It was, to make a long story short, we got into a big fight, and I remember I was gonna, because I used to box, so I squared him up, and I just remember, like, he pulled out a chair, something like this, where the four legs were sticking out, and I grabbed it from him, and then he grabbed the knife, and
Man, you guys are about to go at it.
it was bad, and that was it for me. That was it. I told myself, like, no, I'm not doing this shit anymore. Like, the drugs, like this is my brother. I took a long ass walk, and I was like, that's it. And ever since then, like, that was the last time I ever did anything, like, as far as the dope stuff.
Yeah.
And
Wait, the dope stuff or
dope?
Oh,
dope.
okay. I was like, what's the dope
And
stuff?
the dope,
Like,
dope.
I got you.
So
But look at you now.
Yeah.
Look at you now.
Yeah. So I mean, we all have our stories. We're fucking fingerprints, and we wanted to just share our upbringing. We're no different from all of you guys. And we want to hear your upbringing.
Definitely.
Like, if you're
willing to share.
Yeah, if you're willing to share, and you need to let it out, we would definitely DM us on Riding the Wave 2024 on Instagram. DM us. We would, if you want to, we would definitely like to get people involved. It's important, bro. I feel good right now just talking about this shit.
It more?
Like, for real. Like, I mean, how do you feel?
I feel great. I mean, when's the last time you actually talked about this?
Oh, man, it's been a long time.
Guesstimate.
Honestly, probably like 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Like,
okay.
Like, once, when I went to therapy, when the whole situation happened with me and my ex-partner. But that's again a different topic.
But for sure, you gotta, it's great to talk about it.
Yeah, and
it's great to talk about it.
And I know it's hard. I know it's not easy to open up those wounds and those old wounds, but sometimes it's necessary. And the reason why I say this, it's like when you go into surgery, right? But then they didn't fully fix what they're supposed to fix. Now they have to reopen you up to fully repair whatever damages that you had. So that's how I view it. It's just I'm opening myself back into surgery so I could re-heal myself.
Right.
So I don't walk around, in pain, and walk around frustrated and angry at the world. You know, at this point in my life, I feel good. I feel happy. I feel blessed.
That's cool. That's good.
Like, I guess the as we exit this conversation, the one question I want to ask you, Aid, is as far as your upbringing, like what is like the best person, not person, but like as far as the characteristic that you have because your upbringing.
Mhm.
Like what do you feel like is the best characteristic that you've developed as far as like just are you
Yeah.
more
No, I got you.
ambition or,
I got you. And I know exactly. I'm just trying to find the words right now, but definitely because I was my dad now, not my biological, but my dad now, since I was born. He raised kids that weren't his own. You know, there's four other of us that are not his, and he raised us like his own, and that's something that I cherish. I have a son that's I'm not his biological father. His dad's in his life, but I raised them as my own. Because it's all about family. It's all about love. It's all about just taking care of the people that that are there. Like everybody's just fucking showing them love. That's really what it is. Just showing them love and having love for them and doing anything for them and communicating and just that's the best thing that I got from my parents, and it's taken me a long way. It's taken me a long way, and it's just growing. Like, and I'm becoming a better person every single day because I stand by that.
you know what, and I respect an individual man or woman who takes on the responsibility of not to say raising but embracing someone else's child.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, in certain people see it as like, oh, as a flaw, or but nah, man, when you open up your heart to other people, especially when kids that aren't yours and you raise them like your own, man, you have no idea the impact that does for not only for yourself but towards that kid.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we all need all we all of us yearn for one thing, and that's love.
Yeah.
I know people probably would say money or this and this or whatever, but it's love. It's the
Yeah,
unity
definitely.
between the people.
Exactly. And if you show your kids that, I mean, they're sponges. They're going to soak in whatever information you give them. Whatever information you want them to download or whatever information you're exposing them to, they're going to download it, they're going to learn it, and they're going to do it. So it's just having patience, you know, enjoy the ride, ride that wave.
Yes, sir.
And see what it turns into.
And on our last note, like for myself, what I learned from my parents, number one, like from my mom, is just hard work. Be on the grind, on that daily grind. And like from my stepdad, uh, even though he left at when I was 16, but what he installed in me is he embraced all three of us, me, my brother, and my sister. Like your stepdad.
Yeah.
He embraced us, and to me, that's a true man. You know, um, but yeah, man. So we want to hear again. We want to hear your guys' stories. Have any of you embraced maybe someone else's children into your life
Yeah.
that you impacted? We definitely want to. We definitely want to hear that.
Yeah, hit us up if you're willing to share, or if you have any suggestions or comments, or yeah, I mean, just drop whatever comment you want. If you don't feel like sharing, a little advice, anything goes a long way.
And I know I'm going to sound like a broken record, but this podcast is not just for us. This is for the audience. This is for the people that just they need a listening ear, or they just want to just talk about whatever it is they're going through, good or bad, good or bad. And over here on this side, there is no judgment.
That part.
You know.
So just let us know what's your wave looking like. What wave are you riding right now? You know.
And we want to know what future topics you want us to discuss in future episodes. Your comment and your opinion does matter.
Yes, it does.
You know,
Yes, it does.
positive or negative. You know, we're here for constructive criticism and we're here for growth.
Definitely agreed.
But
Man,
all right, is there anything else, bro? Anything else?
No, with that said, it's time to roll out. It was a great session. Got to give love to my MJ.
Love you, brother. Love you, brother.
Riding the wave with Aid and MJ. So, all my kings and queens, hit us up. Let us know what you guys want to talk about.
Tune in for next week, 8 a.m. Fridays. Riding the Wave 2024. We'll see you guys next week. Thank you for tuning in. Please subscribe if you like our channel. Let everybody know. Any of your friends, family, if you guys like our content, please spread the word.
Whoever you feel may need this. We all need something.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you next week.
Kings and queens.
Namaste.